everyone, welcome to the Brand Sisters. I'm Alexis.
I'm Claire.
And today I'm going to be giving you guys, and we're going to be talking about something very applicable, actionable, and that will really help you in your business. So today I kind of wanted to start doing some series called Streamline Systems for Success. I really like the alliteration. Yes, just things that like help you streamline certain aspects of your business and be more successful. And so today I want to talk about content, creating and cycling content. I think that this is something that a lot of businesses get really stuck on, is where to start that content creation. Like, do you start that in your social media posts? Do you start that in your articles? Do you do something on your website? Do you send something out to email subscribers or like podcast, YouTube? Like where to start and where to go next? So I absolutely believe there's different things that work for different people, but I thought that we'd share what we do and how we cycle it so it feels exciting and not overwhelming.
Awesome.
Okay. So the first thing that we do is we write our blog post or article, whatever it is that you are writing. We start there. That's really where we want to like get all of that information, because that's where you're going to put all the details, right? The step-by-steps, the examples, links to other things, information. So you start, I really feel like starting with the blog post or the article that you're writing is the first step. Get all your information out. Any research that you need to do to support anything that you do goes there first. And it helps you create like not a mental framework, but an actual framework for you to have the mental space moving forward with the other things.
I think that's great. I feel like it kind of reminds me of English class. You know, like I feel like, and I go back to that all the time.
Me too.
You know, like you get that outline out, you know, and like then you fill it out. Like I feel like it's such a good way to just get like all of your thoughts out, and then you can kind of pull the gems.
Absolutely. I mean, I think probably both of us do that. We start even with a draft or an outline of what we want to do, and then we like dive into the writing clearly. So we make sure that it's appealing to our audience and all of those things. But yes, so getting that out. So the second one, I understand that this is not applicable to everybody, but it is applicable to our business, and I actually think it's applicable to a lot of people's business, is to then create your podcast or YouTube video. So, you already have all the research done. You already have all the information. But to be dynamic, not everybody has time to read articles or blogs. So if you have the information and you're thinking about a podcast or a video, or even if you have that already, this is the time then to put that information into that avenue. And I think like pro tip, we record our YouTube video and then we save it as an MP3 and put it on our podcast, so we're able to do something one time and use it for two different channels.
All about streamlining.
I know. Yeah. Streamline systems for success. Get it?
Yep. Got it.
Okay. All right. So from there, you can then send the article to your email list or subscribers. So I think that there's like a couple different ways to do this. The way that I think is probably best is you don't necessarily want to send the whole the whole article or blog post to your email subscribers. You want to tease them or invite them to get them to come to your website to check that out, right? To continue to drive traffic there. So you can put an excerpt of it. You can tell maybe a personal story that is a little bit more engaging, that builds a connection to get them to come and read it. But it's a way then for you to further that content and really make sure that the people that are the most invested in you, because those are your email subscribers, right, really then have an opportunity to go and check out the work that you've done. And you can also link it, of course, to your podcast, to your YouTube, like anything else related there.
Do you feel like there's like a gauge as to how much is too much to share, or like too little? Because I hate when they don't give anything, right? Like, or it's just like check out my new,
right. That's where what I've really enjoyed doing with our email list, and then with my personal brands list. I tell a story that I haven't shared on the blog post, and I usually, because I feel like I know my audience so well, the story is something I know that they would relate with. So maybe I'm sharing something and then kind of starting to share the insight that I might have shared on that article, and then, you know, hopefully getting them over to check it out. And then I'll always link like the podcast or YouTube with it too, because people want to digest it in different ways. Okay, so from there, now you have marketing material already. So this is really easy, and I think that this is where so many people struggle with social media content. And I just want to make sure that when we're talking about social media, that people know we're talking about marketing. This is not just for you to use on yours. We're talking about building connection with your ideal client or your ideal audience, and potentially converting those to clients. So that's why we're talking about social media, right? It's not just about creating a presence. This is marketing. So like we're talking about marketing. So you've already created the material. You can break that content up into 2-3 social media posts. So if you've layered it, right, like you've identified essentially like a client potential problem and a solution and some insights, that's so easy to break up into different social media posts, right? You could even you could do one that's like a little bit more problem oriented and build that connection. You could do one that's more solution oriented and like offer statistics or whatever. And then you could do one where you kind of like convert and have the opportunity to sell. You could share a personal story. You could share a client story around it. There's so many different things that you could do. Obviously you can just take parts of the article already and put it in, but you could also revise it or add a little bit more or shift it. And then you have content essentially for a whole week. Right? Okay. And then additionally, the last thing that you can do is share that topic in your story like 2 to 3 different times. And this is really where you get the opportunity to connect on a deeper level and to build a solid connection with your audience. You can also do market research here. So you can ask for their ideas about the problem that you're talking about or the education that you're sharing. You could ask them to share their experiences. You can take different polls. So like you're offering an opportunity for actual engagement, but you can also collect market research to like drive your next content that you think that you should write about, or how else you can like be solution oriented for your clients. And also just build that relatability and open a conversation with your audience that could potentially turn into clients.
I think that's such a wise thing, and I'm seeing that a little bit more, you know, on social media, especially on stories, for example. Like, you'll see people be like, essentially what they're asking is like, what do you want to see from me, right? But they're doing it in a way where it's not just like open-ended, because no one's going to respond to that. It's more like, what would you prefer to see, this or that, you know? So like having that opportunity for them to engage with you in very like manageable ways, you know, works in your favor on so many different levels, right? Like it gives you insight. It allows you to see like what's going on in the mind, you know, the collective mind of like your audience. And then it gives you ideas, right? It's like, absolutely. Okay, like I don't have to, you know, think about things too much. I can just go off of like what I can tell people are resonating with.
Right. Exactly. And I think that it's very important to remember that your dynamic channels should drive traffic to your static channel, your website. You want to get more traffic to your website. So anything that you're doing on social media, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of those things should eventually drive traffic to your home, which is your website, right? So cycle through those things, like figure out the right links in your profile to put in. Make sure that on your email list subscribers, they're directing you to a website in different places. If you have your podcast or YouTube channel, that you're ultimately cycling people back there, right? You want them to visit your home. Like that's where that next level relationship is. So make sure that you're driving back that way.
I can't stress how much I agree with you on that. Like, that's so important. And I've been noticing recently too that a lot more people have been getting hacked on social media and like losing their entire following.
That's so true.
Yeah. And that's been like kind of a wake-up call, I know, for a lot of businesses, where it's like, you can't live on somebody else's platform. That is not enough. You know, like you can't rely on some other business's platform because you can't trust it necessarily at all times. And your website, just like you said, is your home. You get to control everything on your website. Like on any sort of external platform, like you have to work within their confines. Like you're working on their algorithm, their game, their rules, right? But bringing people to your website, then like they're on your terms, right? They're in your turf, and you get to like curate completely, you know, their experience.
Exactly.
And then you have so much more sway, right?
Right. And like, just to note on that and to add to that, bringing people to your website and then keeping them engaged by asking them to join your email list, right? To make sure you have like a lead generation that's a generator that's strong, but makes them want to stay connected with you is so important. We can do a whole other podcast about that. Yeah. And I just thought I'd share how that works out for us. So we're able to create the cycle usually in 8 to 10 week chunks is how you and I have been doing it. So I mean, it definitely helps that there's 2 of us.
Right, yeah.
It really does help. But like, ultimately, we're each creating 2 blog posts a month. Then we break it down and do our YouTube and podcasts. And then we each break up social that way. So we're able to do all of our, so we work in those 8 to 10 week cycles. And then we have everything done for the 8 to 10 weeks. And it's, don't you think it's so, frankly, I don't want to say easy, like, but it is easy and fulfilling and enjoyable creating our marketing content because we've created such a strong foundation in the blog posts and then YouTube. Don't you think so?
Absolutely. Well, it's, yeah, I feel like it's an easeful process.
Yes.
Like you're not feeling like there isn't as much resistance.
You're like working downstream.
Yeah.
As opposed to like fighting upstream. Absolutely. Okay. Well, good. I hope that my streamlined systems for success, created and cycling content was helpful. You can read our full blog post article on it at animello.com. You can check us out on Instagram, TikTok. Please listen to our podcast, watch our YouTube channel, subscribe, and we will catch you guys next time. Bye.